All right. Good afternoon. I got my amazing dad on the line for our damn episode 6, Dudes Advocating Mental Health. I appreciate you hopping on, Dad.
Absolutely. I'm really happy to be here. I think this is a great cause, and I think it's such a thing that's needed in today's world with the distance of people and people not being together. Everyone needs love. So
Absolutely.
good job, Andy Boone. Good job.
Well, thank you. You inspire me daily. So does Mom. And I think this was a call to action from God when, we lost our dear and near friend Connor Hull to suicide. I know we've all been struggling with that one, and it's been a tough pill to swallow. So I wanted to have an outlet for men to be comfortable talking about the good and the bad. Because as a man, sometimes you're not, you don't feel comfortable because the stigma is you're a man, you need to be strong. But I want to show with this channel that, you're allowed to talk about it.
Absolutely. And nothing's wrong with crying.
Oh,
That's
absolutely. We influence it. I mean, here on Damn, we
yeah.
try to, tears are good. Tears are good. They help you get out the ugly and talk about the pain, and that's a part of it.
Yep, I agree.
So my dad has had quite an interesting life, from childhood to adulthood to entrepreneurial. You've been through it all. You've seen it all. So I'm gonna kind of jump right into it. You ready, Dad?
Yep, let's go. I'd
All
love to.
right. So for people who don't know your story, you were adopted at the age of 8, by the Papa I know. That's the only Papa I know, French Boone, the best guy ever, and you were fortunate to call him your dad. First off, what was it like having him become your dad? And secondly, how was it growing up with Nana for a while? My grandma, your mom, how was it growing up with her, just you guys for a long time?
Yeah, I tell you, it's well, the first thing I'll start with, yeah, I'm gonna start with my mom because really for the first 7 years of my life, my mom filled both the roles. I come from on my mom's side an Italian family. We're all about family, love, and all of that. My mom really did try to fill that part for both me and Chris, which she did, a hell of a job. But even with my mom giving 110%, you know, me as a son, I always had that aching and that want to have that father figure. I just remember being in grade school and there'd be daddy days at school and second grade and things like this, and all of my friends' dads would show up and they'd be out there doing their thing, and I was a kid, without the dad there. And it was one of those things that no matter what, we just always had that need to have that father figure. And a wonderful thing happened. My mom started dating. She started dating and meeting guys, and she met this one very special guy. His name is French Boone, and they fell deeply in love. They got married, and from that point on, it was. I felt like, wow, got a family. Now, why? Because you know, French Boone treated me as if me and Chris, was his son straight off the bat. So it was something we've never felt before or didn't even know how to get used to at first. But it was a great touch in our life. And, there was this one very special time that he invited me and Chris out to dinner. And we're eating dinner, and he said, I'd like to adopt you as my own, and let's just make it official. He said, how would you boys like that? And yeah, it it changed our lives. We got welcomed into a family. He already had a first family of his own, but brought in some brothers and sisters, and I got my new brother and sister that my mom and dad together, Troy and Tara. So, again, this was something new at a young age. I'm 9, 10, 11, starting to experience things that I didn't feel the first 7, 8 years, of my life. So it was great. And what's neat is, he chose us to call his own. So it was a privilege for, for that to happen.
Absolutely.
So
I mean,
I think
Papa.
that's probably the first time I've talked to you about this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I knew it's been a tough
Yeah.
subject. I think again, us as men, we kind of don't want to talk about the hard stuff, and it's like
Right.
not that we can't, but we just feel like we're not supposed. It's like a weird stigma, growing up and being a man. Like Taylor, my wife, and all of her girlfriends and her mom, they always talk about their feelings, and that's just, normal.
Right.
In a house full of boys, you only had sons, and then of course we're going to touch on faith later. But it's like, growing up with only boys, like you don't really talk about this stuff. You don't like say like, "Hey, why are you sad or why are you mad? What's making you sad or mad?" You're like, "No, I'm sad or I'm mad." That's the end of it, and you just kind of leave it at that.
Right. Well, what it did was, you ask a question like that, it really, it makes you think to yourself, oh, wow, getting this out and talking about it, yeah, you look at bad times and you think, what was it like then? But you also see what happens on the other side. And so, yeah, from bad comes good. And, I did find, my forever dad. So
Yeah.
all good things happen.
And Papa was an incredible guy. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, amazing, amazing person.
he deserves his own podcast, but
Yeah,
I mean, he is a special guy, and I'm blessed to have called him my Papa.
right.
Just one of the best guys ever. But um, my
One
next
of a
question,
kind.
yeah, one of a kind, one of a kind. My
Yeah.
next question is kind of a little bit of switching gears, but talking about how you've, really built a lot of businesses, you've taken a lot of risks, carried the weight of providing for your family, seen the economy crash when you were a lender. You've kind of seen it all, especially with your age group, being almost 60 years old. You guys have seen the ups and downs of the economy. Starting a business in tough times is not easy. What were some of the hardest moments behind the scenes that nobody saw, or maybe us as your children, you didn't want us to see?
Um, well, I'll give you an instance of some tough times and things that happen. I mean, there's always risk, when you're starting a business, but unfortunately, I'm a big risk taker. Um, and I've always been a big picture, creative guy. And for better or for worse, I'm the guy who, throws the traditional reasoning, out the window and will go ahead and, try and go for his dreams. So, back in 1997, everybody was talking about the internet and this crazy thing, and at that time they had dial up, so you get on the internet, and it would take you a while. And while you were on it, you could shop a couple things. The graphics and everything else were very raw, but at the end of the day, it was like a new thing. And I was in the retail business. Again, I got blessed by my father. I got to go to work and run the McLean Boone and Sons Jewelers, and I was in retail business with them. And while working there, I really took an interest in this new thing called the internet. And one thing led to another, and I said, "Look, we got to get our catalog online, take some pictures, and this, that, and the other." And all I'm hearing is, you're crazy for doing this." But I thought, you know what? People are going to start buying online and this, that, and the other. And at that time, there really wasn't a commerce engine that was out there that was promoting much purchase. And there wasn't a lot of purchases going on because the big threat was like, oh my God, someone's going to steal your stuff, this, that, and the other. And it's still there today. So I decided to create a portal and have jewelry, and we built this catalog, and I actually hired some developers and developed an e-commerce system that was taking in transactions and splitting it between a manufacturer and a retailer, and it worked. And I was really excited about it. I went out and Started getting some jewelry manufacturers involved, and actually ended up getting 19 manufacturers, signed up. Had a real thing go on, and I was like, oh my god, we actually can make a major, run on this. And again, at that time, Amazon was nothing more but a bookstore. They were selling books. Okay, so I've got contracts, I got companies paying, manufacturers and retailers signing up, and that's what you wanted at that time. This is the dot-com craze. Well, one thing led to another. Got in a train, started saying, okay, well, let's raise some money for what we're doing, and this, that, and the other. And I ended up meeting a guy on a train. The guy had, we ended up talking. One thing led to another. He used to be a former head of IBM, real high position. I told him kind of what I was doing, and he said, "Hey, listen, before you go out and you start talking to some venture capital firms or anybody else, come in and talk to me and my partners. We'd love to talk to you." Well, boom, one thing led to another. They sold me on their deal, and these guys had big names. They were with big companies. I figured you can't lose. They were giving me some money up front for my concept and a patent pending uh, certificate that I had in place. And I thought I was off and running. And they took my commerce engine, manufacturers, huge click was born. Well, they went out, they raised $11.5 million. I'm on cloud nine thinking, this is great. And by the way, at that time, you know, uh, my wife, Susan, she was, backing me up. She said, yeah, go do what you had to do. She was going with your boys. And I was, up there working and growing in New York, trying to make things work. Well, things were going great until I found out on the back end the people I was in business with were misusing the funds and spending it on things that we didn't need. So they blew through all our funds, and all of a sudden, I wake up, and this is after we had moved to Connecticut and ready to be there in New York and go crazy, and I'm left with nothing. And it was humbling. It was very tough times, but through thick and thin, you boys, were amazing. You were settled there, and you in Connecticut, and nothing phased you, and you all got through. We came back to Northern Virginia, and I pretty much had to start off from new. And you know, I learned a lot. Obviously, through that experience, you know, I learned that obviously maybe slow down and think about things, and do stuff and watch out for people, who you're reading. But most of all, what I'm proud of is that as far as us as a unit and a family, it's just another thing that made us stronger.
Absolutely. I mean, think when you tell that story, it just makes me inspired because you taught us to take risks. First job out of college was essentially working for myself, starting a landscaping company, and you said, go for it. Didn't use my degree. I mean, I used what I learned from my degree, but I didn't use my degree per se. And you just said, go with it and run with it. And then I got into real estate again, working for myself, and now I'm obviously still doing that. And I think it's hard to take risks, but if you have someone that's teaching you that it's going to be all right and you'll, grind it out and you'll figure it out, I think it helps. It helps out a lot.
Yeah, and you learn a lot. I mean, whether successful or not successful, you're going to learn something all the way through it. So,
Yeah.
um, God bless you.
Yeah.
But
And then this is obviously something that, we both obviously went through. It wasn't easy. And that was when we lost faith. I remember leading up to that, we knew she was having surgery. Life was still pretty normal because we didn't, as a kid, I didn't think much of it. We just knew she had to go to the hospital and this is what was going to happen and she's going to be all right. And then obviously things didn't go as planned. Um, and then I think it's Also pretty cool, not cool, but it ties in my son Wesley because he also has a complex heart that Faith
Yeah.
had. So it's almost like, brings us together because it shows that, you went through it. I'm kind of going through it right now.
Yeah.
But as a father, how difficult was it to deal with losing faith, and just being a father and explaining that to his children?
Yeah, well, I mean, really, I'd like to talk about really the evolution of, from start to finish, from, when we found out mom was pregnant and you were going to have a sister, all the way through. Because as I walk through this whole thing, it's a process for me. But so when we found out that your mom was pregnant with our fourth child, we were through the roof. It felt like our dream was complete. We wanted 4 to 6 kids, and that was fantastic. Plus, we found out it was a little girl. It was going to be our first little girl, so it was like, okay, well, I got my 3 boys, and now I got my little girl. So it was just very exciting times. So a few months into Susan's pregnancy, there were some concerns, and her doctor had noticed that there may be an issue with the heartbeat, and basically asked us to go see a specialist, periodontologist. I can't. I think that's what they're called. But when we went and met with this periodontologist, the guy has no bedside manner whatsoever. By the way, it was a terrible experience. We go in there, we're in there for hours doing tests, this, that, and the other. We're called into his office, and we both walk in there and close the door behind him. Again, I'm going to say zero bedside manner. This guy was horrendous. And he basically, told us that, well, it looks like you're going to have a daughter, has Down syndrome, and she's going to have, a heart defect, and pretty much put up every roadblock you could possibly put up with. Here's all the things you're going to have to deal with, as a parent. And was kind of like, what I recommend is that, you terminate the pregnancy. Anyways, didn't take me or mom more than a second. We basically answered that back, well, that's not an option. So, have a good day. Bye. We walked out. So, to us, no matter what, she was going to be perfect. So on May 23rd, Faith was born. This is 2003. And we were ecstatic. It was amazing, amazing, amazing day. You boys were at home. Um, Me and your mom was crying. Of course, you got the tears going on, and I'm in total, you know, just shocked, just amazed, and we're kind of scared because it's like, okay, what can we expect? And basically, this one dude is trying to just shatter us, telling what we're going to expect is all these terrible things. And your sister came out, and she was mm, about as perfect as a child could be. Um, and funny enough, I mean, they put her in the crib, and I'm sitting there looking at her, and I'm staring at Faith. And I looked at your mom and said, these docs are crazy. She's perfect. Her
Yeah.
face was perfect. Everything was done. She breathing great. I was like, what the? There's got to be something wrong here. I wanted them to check the tests they had run and everything else before. I thought it was crazy. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. We loved it. And that was something special because that we realized no matter what, she's perfect to us, and everything that went on there, that day and thereafter was was nothing but a miracle to us. So it was all good. Um, so in her short time with us, Faith fundamentally changed who I was as a man. That's for sure. She stripped away all the superficial things that we all think about, and she just she taught us, how to love others, that are different, and that people have different strengths, and that there's no challenges too big that you could overcome. So, and I know she instilled in you boys that same thought because you all live like that, which is incredible. Um, but through her short life, it was so incredible how she touched not just me, but basically everyone in our family, and I want to say the community, because Vienna, embraced faith as their own. I mean, she went to all your games and stuff like that. So it was an unbelievable gift that I saw unfolding, out to the world. Um, so when we ended up um, going to that day, which we knew would happen, that we'd have to have, that heart surgery. She went into it very strong, and the doctors had told me and Susan that she's a strong baby. Things are looking good. And yes, there's always threats on surgeries, but this is something that's standard. At least the one that they're going to do with Faith. They've done it many times before, and you know you should see her it's in about 7 hours. After this, and that day, and I'll never forget it. We had prepared you boys because we said, listen, Faith's going to come back stronger than ever, but she's going to go get fixed by the doctors, and she'll be better, better than ever. And we left, went on with our day. You guys, had baseball games and stuff like that. And I wasn't worried. I mean, we were switching off, at the hospital. Leading up to that, we were there for weeks. But leading up to the surgery, we're pretty much, we're keeping everything normal. The day of the surgery, of course, we were there, at the hospital. But 7 hours is a long time on a surgery, so you're sitting there waiting and you're nervous. But we were getting checkups. Well, all of a sudden, a 7 hour surgery turned into 8, then a 9 hour. As the 9.5 hour comes by, you're frantic and asking questions. And of course, the doctor comes out and says, well, we ran into some things, and we should be able to get her, another report shortly, but she's doing fine for now. We were 11 hours, and we got told to return back to. Anyways, to go back to Faith's room, and yes, as we got to her room, the surgeon comes in, yeah, and he told us, that is crazy, crazy words. And it was tough. Um,
Yeah.
but we, you never accepted. Um, and we knew we had our beautiful boys at home, our boys who were expecting to see their sister. And yeah, that was the second hardest day. we went out on our deck. We had to tell you guys, tough. Didn't You were young, but you didn't understand. You know those words. No, your sister's. She's not coming home again. The gift that, that we had, and we still have,
Yeah, that's a
is
fact.
amazing. Yeah.
I
Um,
think what you said is couldn't be more spot on the money that although she only lived a short time, 3 years, her impact was endless. I mean, I to this day I'll get texts from some of my best friends like, share the faith. Um,
yeah.
and then on her birthday, like, don't worry, I'm sharing the faith today. Like, got your back. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, her impact exceeded far beyond someone who lives 70, 80, 90 years because of
No,
how much she impacted so many people.
it's incredible. Just the determination. She didn't know anything more than that.
Yeah, just fight. All she knew was fight.
That's it. That's it. It was a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah,
You know, she's going to learn how to walk, but she's going to do it her way.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, she's not going to be able to walk, or she's not going to be able to speak. Well, you know what? She doesn't know that. That's a joke.
yeah,
So she proved to blow everybody's minds. So
yeah. And
yeah,
that's,
incredible, incredible. What a privilege and what a really what an impact.
yeah, no, I
You know,
agree. And that's what kind of started us to do these amazing events for children with disabilities and, started Great Vibes. And that kind of leads me to my next question. How fulfilling and inspiring is doing these events in honor of faith to show
uh,
everyone just how special not only she was, but her light and her impact on us was.
you know what? It's well, first of all, again, it's what we learned from this special gift. I mean, you boys have been incredible. Um, really straight from the bat. Your care and love, for the special needs community and those that are in need, um, is a testament to who you are and the type of man you are and the type of parent you are. It's to me as a father, I love it. But great vibe events is just you know it's a blessing and such a privilege to not only be a part of the community still, but to really do it in honor of faith and remembering how incredible our little girl was and how happy she should be. I mean, we do it for 18 years and above, and that's the attendees that come to it. But these are some of the gifted, most, in my opinion, most talented, um, driven people in the world that are coming to our events and attend them, and it's a privilege to even be a part of it. Honestly,
Yeah, I feel like I'm the one who's getting like when we leave, I feel almost bad because I like my cup is filled more up. Like I feel like I'm gaining so
yeah,
much more. Like I feel guilty on how good I feel after.
yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if I hope the viewers get a chance to attend one of the Great Vibe event, you know, activities that we do, and we do it over at Flores Methodist Church over in Herndon, Virginia. But if you want to be inspired, or you're feeling down, or you're looking for a way to get motivated. Meet some of our friends at Great Five events.
Yep.
And I could tell you, you walk out of there with that in your heart and mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there's a laundry list of things, unfortunately, that we've all been through as a family, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
touch on all of them today, but I just wanted to talk about, you know, the main ones. But through it all, you and mom have always been people us boys can count on, and your friends too, and your
Yeah.
family, because you know you guys are kind of the center of it. You know, everyone looks to you, and mom's the oldest, you're the second oldest. You guys kind of are the first line of defense, and you're our parents. So through it all, you've always been the person everyone can count on, no matter what life throws at us or throws at you. You've always shown up for us as a family. Were there ever times you didn't feel strong? And if you didn't feel strong, what kept you going on to be like, I got this. This is my family. I can do it.
Well, I mean, that's a natural instinct. It's, as a father, a parent, you have to remember one thing, and that's, you have a child that's counting on you, and you have to put all your own troubles aside and just focus on that because that's someone that you're bringing up, and you want him to be a leader, and yes, learn by example, but you've always got to be there for your son or daughter. And that fact, you really should be there for your friends and your family and strangers. So I mean, the best that you can do to do that in everyday life is, it's only going to make you stronger and better as a person. Um, and those that are down and need to talk to someone, I highly encourage you to, you know, not only talk to your friends, but reach out to your family and make sure that people are aware of what you're doing. There's no such thing as weakness and showing that something that's bothered you or sharing it with someone else. If anything, it gets a lot off of you just to be able to talk about it and tell someone what's going on, and whether it's good or bad, share it. It's really a trait that I wish I had started, long before I'm even telling you now. But you learn this after you have a few years on you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the coolest thing that I don't know if you did intentionally or unintentionally, but every day at school drop off, clockwork in high school, pull up to drop us off at door 7 or whatever it was at Oakton. You said, do something nice for someone today. And every single day, it just resonated with us. Some days you're not in a good mood, so maybe you don't. But when you instill that in someone, you really want them to know, no matter what goes on, just do one good thing for someone, and all the dominoes will fall. And in closing, like I said, we've been through some tough shit.
Oh yeah.
Someone else that's watching this that's also going through some stuff. What would
Hmm.
be your advice to them to be like, keep pushing, keep working through it. It's all going to be all right. God's got you. What would be your advice to them?
That is as tough as it is, and probably the hardest practice to do is you always have to have faith, a belief in a higher power, I believe, and you have to be willing to receive love and talk to people. So, I highly again recommend that you share your life and share your thoughts with those that are close to you, and don't keep things inside, and reach out to those that love you, and obviously, you know everything will turn around. It always does.
Well, love you, Dad. Appreciate you hopping on. means
Yeah.
a lot. And I know someone out there is going to watch this and they're going to be glad they did. And, it's going to turn their day around and maybe their year around. So it only takes one person. And that's why I'm doing it, to save that one person.
I love it. And I love sharing it. I didn't mean to cry like a little baby, but feels good.
Feels good to get a cry out. I agree.
Oh God, I don't know what it is. I feel actually relaxed right now. Thank you, man. I actually am relaxed, and I'm probably going to get a great nap tonight or sleep. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. All right.
I
Well, I love you.
might even get off this and cry some more.
It feels good. It's good for
I
you.
feel so good right now.
It's cathartic. It's like you just bench press 350 100 times. I mean, it's just,
Ridiculous. I
yeah.
am so, I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling energy. I'm going to cry more. Talk to you later.
That should be the mantra at the bottom. Go cry more.
I'm talking to you later. I'm crying.
Yeah,
Later.
can't talk. Gotta go cry.
No, that's all I'm doing. Bye.
All right, bye.